Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Stop.Sit.Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen. We have a wonderful guest joining us from the East Coast. We're going to go ahead and let her introduce herself. Take it away.
Sure. Hi, my name is Jennifer Engel. I am the founder and executive director here at Eggceptional Fertility. We're located in Georgia and we've been in business for 16 years. I originally started the company in March of 2008. I first started, I was an egg donor. How a lot of people kind of get started is they're an egg donor or a surrogate or in the medical profession. I was a donor and I donated for two couples that both had twins. Not because I'm predisposed to twins in any way, but simply because back when I was donating, I'm 41 years old now. So when I was donating, obviously it's a very expensive process and people were like, hey, let's try two since, two for one. So
Yep.
most people are doing the single embryo transfers now, but that was just kind of the thing that was being done back then. And I did donate more than two times, but two of them did have twins. And so I really fell in love with the process because I got to meet my intended parents, not in every case, but two different times I got to meet them and just seeing how appreciative they were. And I also got to see why they chose me. Like I looked like the mom, like what I look like now, that's what she looks like. She was like 41, one in particular. And she really, she had a little boy. They already had a little boy and they really wanted to have a girl and they ended up having twin girls and
Oh,
it was over
wow.
the moon. And so
That's,
I was,
go
yeah,
ahead.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. It's just really rare to meet when you're an egg donor back then, because I did it 22 years ago, like back then. So was it their request or at your request?
It was their request and
Okay.
I was happy with it. And to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest with you, I also welcome, and maybe it's just because of what I do for a living now too, but I can't wait till like those children find me on 23andMe or Ancestry and they are like, oh my gosh, that was my egg donor. And like, I would love to connect with, if they want to connect with me, of course, I
Yeah.
welcome that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Fun.
and so many of our intended parents now, like they really do want to meet their donor, at least through a Zoom call. They want to
Right.
just see her, talk to her, see her mannerisms, and there's so many things you
Mhm.
can't get from a picture.
Yeah.
And so just having connecting with her and telling her how much they appreciate what she's doing for them, I find those to be the most meaningful cases that we do. Um,
Mhm.
and we do it with, again, all types of couples, but especially the same sex couples, because this is all happy. Like it couldn't happen without an egg donor or a surrogate. So like they are all about meeting her and really getting to know her. So, and they actually end up having lifelong relationships a lot of times. So we actually have a egg donor who her intended parents live in Greece. And we have pictures of her. I think she was on a trip anyway, but she made sure she made a stop off and met them in Greece. So that was really
Wow. That's
Cool.
very fun because you don't hear that a lot with the donors. You hear it more obviously with the surrogates, but
Right.
that's very fun. Yeah, I love that.
so yeah, but and so what I was saying before, as far as transitioning, I owned a company called Bell Promotions at the time, and we
Mhm.
hired talent for special events across the country. So if BMW was having a car show, or the Super Bowl was in Miami, or something like that, we would hire talent for those events. And while I loved doing that, I was tired of being out till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Because the events, you have to be there, you have to make sure
Yeah.
everything taken care of and or waking up at like 5 a.m. for photo shoots and things. And so I wanted a better schedule.
Yeah.
And
Aw.
I felt like working in this field was would fulfill my natural nurturing nature. And I'm a good communicator, I feel like, by nature as well. And so it kind of those things just married well. So here we are.
I do have a question. You said before we started, you said you have children of your own, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So just on the topic of egg donation, how did you do this before or after you had children?
I did it before I had children. So
Before.
yes, I didn't
So
have children until much later in life. I actually thought I probably, like a lot of young people, was like, oh, I don't know if I want to have children. And something happened to my physical body when I turned 29. And I was like, "Oh, I think I want one of those things." It's
yeah.
like, so I donated in my 20s and I had my first baby at 34 and my last one at 38. And I have two boys. So
Wow.
So,
Okay.
but they don't see, because a lot of the times in surrogacy, we're asked like, oh, does this affect your child? Like, do they see them as like a sibling and stuff like this? And technically, the your egg donations, they're related by DNA, per
Sure.
se, right, by science, but they don't see it as that's their sibling, or do they?
Well, my children are so young. They're only
Young.
like 3 and 8 years old. So they're not really,
Oh, I didn't do the
they've
math.
never seen that yet or been exposed to it. But they know what I do for a living. Like my 8-year-old all the time, tells people my mommy makes babies, like,
Oh,
so he very
sweet.
much understands, but he doesn't understand the egg donor side. He really sees more the surrogacy, honestly. So
Okay.
That's so sweet. I didn't even math it in my head, like
I
how
know.
old they were, but
And do you do both? You do surrogacy and egg donation through the agency?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We're full service. So yes,
Okay.
we do. We do both. We've been doing egg donation for 16 years and surrogacy for 10. So we had a lot of intended parents that were asking me when we just did egg donation, like, oh, do you have surrogates? We really loved working with you. And
Oh,
obviously surrogacy is a whole other animal. And I was like, I want to know what I'm doing and have the right
Mhm.
people. So I
yeah.
took a little time to like make sure that I knew what I was doing. And yeah, we started doing that 10 years ago, and now we do both. So
Wow.
Wow,
It's great.
that's amazing. So you're on the East Coast. I'm only going to touch on it really quick and then we'll move on. But well, because there's the ruling in Alabama with the
Oh, yeah.
IVF. Is that affecting Georgia at all?
it has not affected us at all.
Okay,
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
we're
love it.
we're doing great. We still have a pre and a post birth order, and
Good.
Oh,
there's no
Cool.
issue here in Georgia.
Perfect.
Oh, good.
That's
Let's
the way
keep
it
it that
should
way.
be. That is the way it should be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people ask me about it. I'm like, no. And even if you have a surrogate in that's from Alabama, that's okay. You just don't want to have your embryos there. So,
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
So are your qualifications to become a surrogate and an egg donor, are they like the basic ones? Like what would be a disqualifying
For a
factor
sure.
surrogate?
for a
For
surrogate or egg donor because
Egg
they do
donor.
both?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can't have more than 2 C-sections as a surrogate. Our surrogates typically need to be between the ages of 21 and 42 is our cutoff. I know people range on that, but that's our
Yeah.
cutoff personally.
Okay.
Obviously you have to have had healthy pregnancies. We do have some wiggle room on like if you failed your diabetes test, your sugar test by like 3 points and you controlled it with diet. Obviously, we're not the deciding factor anyway, it's the clinic, but a lot of times they'll be okay with that. Not so much with high blood pressure, of course, but certainly with something like that. With egg donors, we specialize in what most people consider exceptional donors. So our donors are in college or graduated. Obviously, if you're choosing an egg donor, you want someone who's attractive and well-spoken and all those things. And I tell people all the time, though, you can be the prettiest, smartest girl in the world, but if you're not responsible, we can't work with you.
Right.
If we ever get those red flags, we've been doing it long enough now to know when to cut it off and just say, okay, if it takes you 3 weeks to get us a picture, then
Oh,
Right.
not gonna work out.
Right.
is there a limit on number of total pregnancies? I know that's a thing now. It used to not be when I did it.
Yes, you can't have had more than 5 pregnancy or well, 6 pregnancies. You can't have more than 6 pregnancies, period. So like you can't, if you've had 5, you can have 1 more and that's it. So
Got it. Okay.
Such a
It's
bummer.
pretty
But it's
standard. Yeah.
fine.
Well, section thing.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you questions about egg donation because we don't ever talk to egg
Yeah. We don't ever
donation.
do.
And I know that's not really on here, but is that okay?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, so is there what is like when it comes to being a surrogate, you have to have had children, right? But when you're an egg donor, you don't have to have children. So how do you know that the egg's going to be viable? Like, is there any indicating factors?
Oh, absolutely. So before,
Okay.
whenever you choose your egg donor, once you choose her, we don't collect any money or have intended parents sign a contract until we test the donor's AMH level.
Okay.
AMH stands for anti-Müllerian hormone, and it's just a naturally occurring hormone in the body that tells us about their egg quality. So it needs to be a 2.0 or above in order to be an egg donor. Now, I do know there's some fertility clinics, especially if they're working with same-sex couples, if both males are wanting to, have their sperm used, they want a much higher AMH. I've been hearing a 4 or more. Someone even told me a 6, and I was like, that's a lot. There's nothing wrong with a 6. Obviously, that's fantastic, but the number of eggs you get isn't really related to the AMH. That's more the resting follicle count. So they look at 2 factors. They look at the AMH, and then they look at your resting follicle count. So they do an ultrasound of the ovaries, and typically most clinics want to see 15 or more resting follicles in order to move forward. And if you get in the 20s or 25s, that's great. So.
Wow. Thank you. That is great education. I
It
never knew
is.
any of that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned LGBTQ. Are you guys LGBTQ friendly? Your
Yes,
agency?
we work with everybody, so we don't cater to anyone. I will tell you though, I just did a post today on our Facebook and Instagram and TikTok about a single father. And I honestly, they just have a special place in my heart. There are so many men, and I find them to be especially brave to want to go this route because they need an egg donor and a surrogate, and they're doing this alone. Like they may have like a family member or some supportive friends. But I just think it's like a special courage because we oftentimes we think about women and like, oh, of course they have a desire to be a mother, but like you really don't think about the deep-seated desire of men to want to be fathers. And this one particular client, Anthony, we've just kind of like helped him along the way, and he just has a special place in my heart. He had a little boy born Henry not long ago, just actually a couple of weeks ago, and he's finally back home in Texas. And I'm just like over the moon because we were really his like coaches through the whole thing. And like even Tiffany that works for us, our nurse, she was even going to go down to Jacksonville because he wasn't sure how long he was going to be there, and she was going to come and just like help him and like be just even in an adjacent like hotel until they were ready to get him, because he was in the NICU for a little bit. And she was just going to stay with him for a couple days before he went to Texas, back to Texas. So, yeah,
That's fantastic.
That's
Wow.
very sweet.
but so if I obviously we want to work with everybody, but Anthony's just like in my mind right now, and I love working with the single dads because I like to handhold and make sure they feel supported and help in that way. So
it is very sweet. You're right. When it comes to single women, you're like, oh, of course they want to be a mom. Like when they're in this process, it's like, oh,
we love that too. Like
no. But you're right. You don't really think about like the desire of a single man having the same desires to strongly be a dad. So it's very. I'm sure that's like such a special experience to be a part of. So do you guys then, you guys then do international, right? Because you said that somebody is with somebody in Greece.
Oh, yes, we do plenty of international cycles. Actually, I don't know how much time you have, but we had a very interesting case. It was an intended mother, actually a single mother from Austria. And she worked with an egg donor and sperm donor. And so her surrogate lived in Georgia, in Columbus, Georgia. And the baby was born early. Like she was going to be here like the week before. When I say early, like not too early for the baby, but just like earlier than we expected, not on nearer the due date, maybe like a week or two in advance. Okay. And she hadn't gotten here, and she was having trouble with the visas because apparently you can't just get like a holiday visa, because of what she was doing. She had to have this special type of visa, and she didn't have that, and she was having a very difficult time getting it. The US website, from my understanding, kept crashing, and she was like, and whoever was supposed to like look at her information was on vacation, and so the other people at the consulate didn't know what to do with her case, so they just didn't do anything. And so long story short, I drove to Columbus. I drove 3 hours there, and I stayed in the hospital with the baby for 2 days. And I was planning on staying in a hotel for a couple more days, but there was still no end in sight of when she was going to be able to come. So I ended up bringing the baby back to my house, and the baby was with me for about a week and a half before she was able to come from Austria.
Like all the chills, all the chills.
How sad for the mom.
Yeah.
It was horrible for her. It was I was sending her pictures and letting her know, and my boys were loving on her. I was sending her videos. My littlest, my 3-year-old, he was like, "Mommy, baby Joy, she's so cute," and he was like, touching her little head, and I was like, "Be careful with her head."
That is like going above and beyond what I mean. That's a full service agency, like That's huge.
Yeah. Well, and after that happened, and after the situation with this other client as well, we realized that single parents like really do need some extra support sometimes. So we've actually talked about, and we're actually putting together something now for our intended parents that might need that extra support, might need us to come down and help with something if they don't have that. And so we're going to start offering that.
Oh, it's
You know,
nice.
not a lot of people will need it, but I was the one who got the birth certificates at the courthouse for the mom. Took her to go get the passports. Like
Right.
it was a whole thing.
It's a big
Yeah.
thing.
So,
Yeah, it's a big
yeah.
deal. Wow.
So I'm glad I
Well,
had the experience.
right. I mean, and kind of how cool for you. I don't know, having a newborn in the house might not have been the greatest thing, but because you're not used to that. But how cool to be able to jump in like that, because I'm gonna be honest, I maybe agencies would do it, but I don't know. I've heard some other stories that I'm sure you just jumped right in. It doesn't seem, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go too far into
I
that,
think
but
I mentioned that like nurturer by nature.
yeah.
I was like, there was like no question for me. I was just like, okay, what do I have to do? You know, like that was
Aw.
just, you know, there was never a question like, well, what are we going to do with the baby? I wasn't going to leave that baby there alone in the
No.
hospital. Like I just,
And that
not
and
going to
that
happen.
brings me to another question. Like the hospital just gave you the baby? Like,
Well, we kind of we were anticipating or not anticipating the attorney's office actually, and I commend them for doing this. They advised that she make me power of attorney if something were to happen. So
okay.
thank God for Richard Bond's office at IFLG, give him a plug. That he suggested that we do that, and so she had made me power of attorney just in case,
Yep.
and so they gave me the baby for that reason. So I have
Perfect.
all the documentation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
wonderful. More power to
That is,
that attorney's office.
yes.
Yep.
When it so kind of transitioning a little bit to the surrogacy, like becoming a surrogate with your agency,
Yeah.
is there a way that you guys figure out compensation? Is it like the normal thing, like first time surrogate is set at this, second time surrogate is set at this, or do they get to come and be like, oh hi, so I'm a repeat and I'm looking for this?
So a little bit of both. So we
Okay.
we have guidelines because people can get crazy, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So our guideline is 50 to like for base comp, 50 to 55 first time, 60, 65, 70, 75. Now we have such a need for surrogates, and I'm being completely candid and honest here. If a first time surrogate comes in and she wants 55 as a first time surrogate, she's likely going to get it, and we're fine with that. It's really whatever you want as a surrogate and whatever the intended parents are willing to, you know, to compensate you. If you're a really strong candidate and, you know, you want a little extra on something, that's okay. You know, if somebody's saying personally as an agency, a red flag to me is, oh, you know, I want a massage every other week, you know, and I want my housekeeping done from the first trimester on. Like,
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to work with you.
Yeah.
Because while there is the financial component and there's absolutely valid and you should be compensated, like you don't need to take advantage of people.
Correct.
Right.
You
There's
need,
the fine line.
right. You need to want to do it for the right reason and help your family at the same time. So
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And I have to say, I think that the way that you do compensation is completely fair. And
Yes.
I appreciate you and your agency for doing, because we talk about compensation a lot, and your starting fee is a lot better than some of the other agencies
Uh-huh.
that I know of. So
Yes.
you're very fair in your
Mhm.
compensation as a
I
surrogate.
think
I
you see
appreciate
the
that.
worth. I think you
Yeah.
see the worth in the services that a surrogate is providing.
Mhm.
It's, and to a surrogate, that's,
Huge green flag.
yes.
well, thank you.
And you're respecting the surrogate, like, because yeah, and we won't even go there, but yeah, respect is a big deal, and I really feel that, and your compensation shows that. It really does. It does.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Do you guys offer like support group meetings for intended parents or surrogates? I know that since COVID hit, that's kind of like stopped all around. But when I was a surrogate, it was like, oh yeah, go to a monthly meeting.
Yeah. Well, we do not, because our surrogates from all over the country, we don't have or haven't had, you know, that happen, but I have had our local surrogates because we've had a lot from like the Dalton, Atlanta, Chattanooga areas that really want to meet up. So I actually had a note in here because just last week, some of our surrogates were like, hey, we need to do like a dinner and like have everybody come together. So that's in the works. And we do have psychologists, like if a surrogate or an intended parent is struggling with something, if it's postpartum for the surrogate, or maybe a failed transfer for the intended parents, we have resources that we will provide to them to make sure that they're taken care of and can deal with their emotions and what's going on in a healthy way. So absolutely.
Even postpartum, so even when the journey is considered complete, you're still able to offer. Oh, I love that.
That's huge. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Because
You'd be
a lot of
surprised
times
30% of pregnancies, and I have had surrogates in the past say, they they were so elated and all of this like wonderful emotion, and they're like all the tears and all the the happy tears, when the baby's born, but then it's like the baby goes with the mom and the parents are so busy with the baby. They still obviously love and adore their surrogate, but they're so consumed with being a parent, they don't hear from them as much, and so it's kind of like a transition period too, because they they had all of that going on, and then then they're healing, and so it can be a challenge sometimes.
it's a hormone crash. It's like a big roller coaster. You reach the top and it's amazing, and then boom, it's like, oh wait, how do I navigate all this? It's very interesting. But no, I think that's amazing. You'd be surprised to hear how many agencies actually stop support after baby's born. It's so yeah.
We're constantly checking in. Hey, how are you doing? We also do these gift baskets or pajamas. There's this brand of pajamas that I love. Oh my God, called PJ Harlow. And I just love those pajamas. They're just so fancy and feel good. And so we either do the pajamas or we'll get the surrogate. We have a list of, or it's like a paper we do. And it's like, what is your favorite candy? What is your favorite this or that? And so we'll like fill this gift basket. And if we're within driving distance, if we're within 3 hours of where you live, like we are coming to see you. So like it's me, Tiffany, Samantha. We come, we bring gifts for the baby, for the parents, for the surrogate. We make sure you're well fed, we're like, so that's as long as we're within distance. And if we're not, then we will of course send that. We'll send a gift package.
Very sweet.
That is so sweet. So when it comes to your matching process then, who gets to see profiles first?
Actually, we do a little hybrid on that. So it depends on the surrogate and the intended parents. If we have a repeat surrogate, oftentimes, as you know, like she knows what she wants, and so we're not going to just we have to let her choose first. In other particular cases, we show the profile of the surrogate first, especially with a first timer. But we make every intended parent fill out a parent questionnaire. So once someone expresses interest in that surrogate, we first show them the surrogate the questionnaire, and I highly encourage pictures to show like their dynamic and what their life and their family's like now. And it talks about how the intended parents met, or if it's a single person, different, but how they met, why they're on this journey, what's important to them, all of those things. And the surrogate gets to choose them just as much as they choose her. And I really make that very apparent to both parties. I was like, you're courting her too, put your best foot forward, because she has to like you. And if she has a partner, like they have to like you. So that's why it's really important that we, just because you're next on the list doesn't mean that you're next to get next. So
right.
Exactly.
How long does it take to typically, I mean, give an average? I know it's not going to be the same for everyone, but from the time they intended parents join your agency to approximately when they're matched, a couple months, or is it longer?
Yeah, I would say 1 to 3 months, as long as you're not asking for something something that's more challenging, such as I had an intended parent recently that wanted a surrogate with absolutely no C-sections in certain states, and she had like 5 states she was okay with, but no C-sections in 5, and I just couldn't match her. And so because it was like I would have someone, but the person had 1 C-section and she was like, no C-sections, so I finally just had to honestly let the intended parent go, and I gave her money back. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not able to match you. And I've done that. And that's what too with our agency. We as an agency do not take any money until you match with your surrogate. Because I came from the egg donor world, and unless I have something to offer you, like, why are you giving me money? It's almost like more pressure on me as the agency. So Yeah, so what we do is once you match, once the surrogate chooses you and you choose her, that's when the first 5,000 is due. It is fully refundable. So if for whatever reason we send the medical records to your clinic and they don't approve your surrogate, then we will refund that money or we'll rematch you. It's your choice.
Wow.
After we do that, the next thing is pre-approval. So once her medical records are pre-approved, that's when the next 10,000 is due. And then the final 15 is not due until she's fully medically cleared. And we're ready for legal. That's our fee structure.
You're 30,000 for an intended parent?
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's
That's
wow good.
I
Wow good.
know.
That's incredible.
well, it's so weird though, because I know you guys probably deal with a lot on the West Coast, and I hear these crazy numbers, and
Oh,
I'm like,
Oh, it's crazy.
they're insane. Insane. And it's the minute you like fill out a questionnaire, throw money in the escrow account, throw money in an account. It's insane. Oh, this is refreshing. I love this.
Yeah.
well, I'm glad that we're refreshing, but yeah, that's how we've always done it. Yeah. So
No,
we
that
actually need to do it in 2 payments, but then we weren't like getting the first payment until it was like 15 and 15, and
Right.
our problem was the reason we had to change it to the 5 and the 10 was because fertility clinics were taking so long to review medical records. It was like taking people 2 months, and like I was like, payroll, like I have to.
wow.
I have to pay my girls. So that's
Yeah.
why we had to change it to the 5, the 10, and the 15, which is still very fair, of course.
Oh,
But
Very
super
fair.
fair. No, it's
yeah.
you
Incredibly
all
fair.
we talked earlier about how much we see respect already just beaming off of you for surrogates, but respect for your IPs. Like it is all around. You understand it and you are in it for all of the right reasons. And it's so
Right.
nice to hear that because as you said, we're on the West Coast, so we've seen quite a lot of funky things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And I honestly, like, I get in my little bubble, and the girls will tell me things that they read or hear on Facebook groups, and I'm just like doing the day to day. So I look at it sometimes, but I don't look at it as often as I should. And so
Yeah.
but I feel like too, probably I don't advertise this. That's why I wanted to do this too. It's like we need to advertise more about who and how we work and what we're
Right.
about, and so maybe that will help more intended parents to come
Yeah.
to us instead of think they have to go
Because
to these.
just because an IP or IPs are going through surrogacy or trying to go through a surrogacy journey doesn't mean they have tons and tons and tons of money that they can just throw everywhere. Like this is really a struggle for some. We've talked to people who have had to mortgage their homes, and because it's such an important thing for them, and to be able to have an agency that has a very fair fee. And I understand there's a surrogacy fee on top of that. There's other things, but that fee for the intended parents that could get some people in the door, that it's and make the realization of their family, like the dream, be a reality. I so respect you for that. It's wonderful. It really is.
One of the things too that I know is different from some other agencies is that we do not have a rematch fee, and sometimes that can bite me in the butt. We'll say, because sometimes
Sure.
it's taken a little while, but there's so few of those that we run into. I feel like it's more of a selling point for us to not have a rematch fee, because obviously this is not their fault. They're already hurting.
Right.
So I just feel like you're pouring salt in a wound to
Yeah.
say, oh, well, give us another $15,000 because sorry, it didn't work.
Oh
Like,
my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, that's
Keeping when they're
disheartening to
down, that's
hear
sad. Yeah, that's
that
sad.
people do that. I didn't again, not from the intended parent side. We're learning more about that this year.
So I asked how long it took for like an intended parent or intended parents to get matched. How long from the time a surrogate contacts you and they join your agency before they get matched? And I understand it's just an average. Is it a couple months?
No, we match our surrogates like within it. Once we get their medical records and they look good, we match you in 2 weeks. I mean,
Wow.
My
yeah,
God.
yeah, because if you check all the boxes and
Yeah.
you have a good personality, and you're not super strange,
Right, right.
you know, then then yeah, like people want to work with you, like if you're a good person and you have a
Yeah.
stable life and you're doing this for the right reasons, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, let's go.
Right. Exactly. Oh my gosh. I have kind of like a sour question, only because I'm sure it comes up every now and then. But if a conflict arises between an intended parent and a surrogate, do you guys send that to lawyers, or do you guys try to mediate first?
Sure. It depends on what it is, of course.
Sure.
Absolutely. I would first try to take care of it myself, because I feel like sometimes it's just a communication error, or the people didn't choose the right words, and so a lot of things can be smoothed over, and just by respecting everyone's wishes and saying it correctly, there's other things, of course, that we have questions about that we will refer to an attorney, but oftentimes even then we'll do it internally. Like we'll call the attorney and say, hey, this is arisen, this is your client. Tell me what your thoughts are so that I can help smooth this out on this side. And then God forbid, if we need to bring them in, we will, but that's rare. So
yeah, I hope it's rare.
Yeah.
I hope it's rare all around.
I tell our intended parents and our surrogates, like our intended parents, this is what I say to them. I say, your relationship with your surrogate should be sunshine and rainbows. So like everything should be as much as possible, of course. Like you should have this like great relationship, and that's all the business side, and anything that gets sticky, let us know, because that's why we're here. That's what we're to handle.
Exactly.
We do have, well, I mean, I don't know, this is kind of like talking shop, but you ask how many employees we have. We have 5 full-time employees. We are looking to potentially hire a 6th, but that person would be part-time. One of the things that is a challenge for us right now is just reviewing applications in a timely manner. Not surrogacy ones. We're able to keep up with those because obviously there's not as many surrogacy applicants as there are egg donors. A much bigger commitment, but with our egg donor applicants, we'll get like 20, 25, over a weekend sometimes. And so to be able to adequately call those people and vet them, and egg donors too, they're younger, they're not as easy to answer the phone and talk to. So so we are looking to hire somebody with that. I don't know, let's see here if there's anything else. I think we hit on a lot of things. Oh, you asked what are our policies on what are your policies on non-traditional births and doulas? I'm more than happy if you want to have a doula, but doula in the hospital.
Okay. No birthing centers? No birthing centers?
No,
Okay.
we don't do
Fair.
that. Because this is somebody else's baby, and the safest place is in a hospital, because God forbid something happened, they have all the tools to take care of you, and we just don't want to risk our surrogates or our babies. So I'm sorry, but we're not the agency for you if you want to have a water birth or
Good.
Totally fair.
I'm so glad to hear that. I really am.
And if somebody wants to be an egg donor or a surrogate or an IP with you guys, where do they go? How do they apply?
Sure, absolutely. Our website is eggceptionalfertility.com. It's kind of a funny spelling. It's EGG, C as in Charlie. Well, actually, we're all in video, so CEPTIONAL, and then fertility.com. And on our homepage, it says become a donor, become an intended parent, become a surrogate. So you'll just click on whatever you want to apply for, and then go from there. And you can actually set up a Calendly appointment with us. Those are totally free for egg donors, intended parents, or surrogates. We will do a traditional call. We'll do a Zoom call with you, whatever you need.
Amazing. I will put the website in the notes just so that way people have it correctly. Just
okay. Yeah, I think I fudged that a little bit. Sorry.
I have one little add-on question.
Sure.
Do you just do gestational carriers, not traditional, or
we don't do traditional? That's a little messy. Yeah.
it kind of sort of just a little bit.
We want to keep it clean up here at Eggceptional Fertility.
We got it.
Oh my gosh.
We've been finding that's becoming a little bit more, not common, but we've been hearing more of it. So that's why I just wanted to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing,
when it's your DNA and you're carrying the baby, that's kind of more your baby, you know. And that's like the reason that everybody does gestational surrogacy, because even I've heard of stories in the past where like a sister carried for another sister and they used her egg, and then it's like, oh, she's trying to tell the mom what to do with the baby, and I don't want to ever run into that. So
that's
here.
That's fair.
Fantastic.
It was so wonderful to talk to you, Jennifer. Like, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. It's lovely to meet you.
It is. And your agency, you're just dialed in. It just like you have definitive answers for everything. And check. As far as I'm concerned, if I was a surrogate, I'd be like, yes. Yes.
Thank you.
And you're so easy to talk to.
Yes.
Just Yeah, it's so
You
nice.
ladies are you're making my, what am I trying to say? You're making my head high or whatever that's going
Just
into my head.
whatever.
Yeah.
Being an IP, a surrogate, and egg donor, just seems like you would put them at ease, answer their questions. It's not like you're judging anyone. I mean, that's the sense I get right now. You would just, it's just 100% authentic. That's what I want to say.
Yes.
That's what I get from you. Yeah. And I think it's very lovely.
Yes.
Samantha is our surrogacy coordinator. She reviews she actually looks at all the applications first. So she's the first person to look at that. She is the first person to call you if you're a surrogate. She's been a surrogate with us once before. She delivered a set of twins vaginally. And so like a superstar, and she's actually about to help hopefully another intended parent.
Oh, yay.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're so excited to meet and speak with her. Thank you.
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Hi.
How are
Hi.
ya?
Well, first of all, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to
You
meet
too.
you.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so you are a coordinator?
I am.
Yes.
Yes.
So can you kind of explain what that is for maybe new surrogates who don't know what your role in their journey would be?
So I actually was a surrogate myself, and so I do know both sides, and that does help a lot of surrogates, feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But as a coordinator, I will go over the process with you, go over your application, go through your medical records. We actually have a surrogacy director that helps do that too. And then I will be on the Zoom call to break the ice. It can be kind of awkward and intimidating meeting someone new.
Sure.
So I'm there to do that. And then I'm also there to help coordinate any appointments. Our surrogacy director's an LPN, so she also helps. She clarifies like any kind of medication protocol that you may not understand. Anything medical, I usually am like, hey, Tiff, will you help me with this? We help coordinate with the attorneys. We help coordinate your monitoring appointments. If you're in driving distance, we try to come to the births. Just to kind of like, we're there for you from the beginning to the end.
That
Nice.
is so sweet. And you've done a journey yourself, yes?
Yes.
So we love to ask this question. How did you find out about surrogacy then?
Right.
I actually applied as an egg donor. And then when I was talking to Tiffany, we kind of, just going over the process and like family history and things like that. A lot of people in my family, a lot of females had breast cancer. So we were like, that's probably not like the best idea, but I didn't know anything about it. And then so I did have my son. And I was like, well, I could do that. And like, I really wanted to just help someone. And so like just talking with her and her going over the process, that really helped me. And then we kind of just decided to do surrogacy instead.
Wow, that's a
That's
very
really
cool way
interesting.
to
That
get
is.
into it.
What made you want to egg donate?
I just want to help someone.
Okay. Oh, sweet. That's
I
very
love
sweet.
you. That's
I
so
know.
sweet.
So many people in this industry, that's why they're in it. They want to help somebody. And
Yeah.
it's that natural urge to just, I can do this. And you
Yes.
did it. You had twins, huh?
Yes, I did.
Were they two? Okay, now we're gonna get into your journey for a second. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, so then how long ago were you a surrogate?
The twins turned 2 in December of this year. So I delivered them in December of 2022.
So how many embryos were put in?
2. So we went with the hopes of twins.
Okay.
Wow. So this is before the times where they're like, no, now it's just one.
Yes. Yeah. Now it's round of one. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And you only had them 2 years ago.
Yes.
Right.
It's just how time has changed. Wow. Okay, so so they
Boys, girls?
wanted twins, they got twins. How did your pregnancy go?
My pregnancy was great. The only thing that was like different from my pregnancy to like the surrogacy pregnancy is you just feel everything sooner. So like as far as like the pelvic pressure and things like that, you just feel it sooner. I did deliver them vaginally, so they were both head down. And then I never had any complications. I saw a high risk doctor one time just because my OB was like, sometimes with transfers, they always want to check like the heart of the baby. So I saw it for that appointment, but that was the only issue. I never had gestational diabetes, never had high blood pressure, nothing like that.
super nice. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. The dream twin pregnancy, I swear.
Yeah. Did you ever get a what are they called? Hematomas behind one of the egg
Subchronic
sacs?
hematoma.
Yeah. Did you ever get that? Okay, because we find that common with surrogacy births too. Huh.
Yeah.
So were they boys, girls? Can you share that or no?
Yeah, one was a boy and one was a girl.
Look at
Oh, perfect.
that.
Done.
Yeah.
And do you still have a relationship with the parents, with the IPs?
I do. Every like about 3 months, I'll get an update. Just a few weeks ago, it was a single dad actually, which is
Oh,
crazy.
what?
But yeah.
What? A single dad with twins?
Yes,
More
Bless his
power
heart.
to him. Oh my
Seriously.
gosh.
yes.
Bless his heart.
But I just got an update a couple weeks ago. They had their first day at the pool, and he had sent me like a picture of them.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
That's so cute.
Oh.
Guys, he just got to be tired, but okay.
I know.
Oh my
So
gosh.
cool. Wow.
So how old was your son then when this happened?
He was 2. He turned 3 while I was pregnant. His birthday's in August, so he was technically 3 the majority of the pregnancy.
Okay.
So, but he,
You get
well,
it?
I don't know your child. Did he understand what was going on, or did he not? Like he was just like, mom just has a belly, like whatever. We're just gonna
All
go
he
play.
cared about was if his Legos would stand up on my stomach. Like
For
that. He
sure.
built
Oh my
Legos
God.
and that's all.
Oh,
I am currently on my second journey. Or I'm in the works of it, and I do plan to, just explain it more to him, let him meet the intended parents, know where the baby's going, and
Yeah.
things like that. So I do plan to do that this journey since he is almost 5, because he
Yeah.
will be a lot more receptive and will question.
For
Yeah.
sure.
No,
Yeah.
for sure. Oh, that's so fun though. Okay, so then yeah, so the first time he's just like, whatever. This time he'll
Yeah.
actually be like, oh, like he'll be like, sure, what's happening, but like I don't really care, but like cool. Like
But like I have questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Where they
amazing.
process
Okay,
it.
so
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
Do you have a partner? And if so, how did that partner react to you doing surrogacy?
I do. I've been with my husband for 6.5 years. We married 1.5. And he was cautious in the beginning, as anyone would be. His main concern really was me. So he was like, once we went over the process and all of that, he said, as long as I'm okay, he's okay. And that was his motto the whole time. He was like, he didn't want to form like an attachment with the baby just because he was like, it's not mine. And I was like, I completely get that. So him being like, anything I needed, he was there, but he didn't like go to appointments with me and things like that, just because that's kind of like, I guess, emotional to him. And so, but he was in the delivery room with me. He did all the things, but he said as long as I was okay, he's okay.
Oh, very supportive.
I got the chills. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
I love it when
Yes.
partners are like, yeah, I'm here for you, but you're my
Right.
concern. It's like,
Right.
good.
And it's
I need to be your concern because the IP's concern is going to be the baby. So
baby.
good.
Right. And a lot of them that we've talked to have said, hey, if this is something you want to do, I'll support you 100%. Like that is just so different than what I used to experience, but it's fine. I think it's great. I love how surrogacy has just evolved. I love it.
It is. It's still evolving. Like I'm still learning things now.
Yep. Yep.
I bet.
Absolutely.
I bet. So is
Gosh.
there anything that you encountered in your journey or even just being in the position that you're in, right? Is there something that you've encountered through surrogacy that you just never really thought of that you could like give advice to?
I never thought I would have like the lifelong friendships that I've built. So like going into it, it was like, I'm gonna do this journey and it's a great thing and like I'm gonna help somebody, but like at the end of the day, like my about to say my kids. My son is best friends with our surrogacy director's daughter. They're like
Oh
best friends and they're 2 years apart. They were born on August 4th and August 5th. And so like we always have to like figure out which weekends we're doing, but like and then Jennifer's kids as well. Like we always do birthday parties together and my kids are friends with their kids. And I never expected I guess just the lifelong friendships because like the surrogacy director, Tiffany, she's my best friend as well. She actually got to witness the double embryo transfer. She was there for the heartbeat appointment. She was in the delivery room when I delivered them. Like, yeah, she was there start to finish and she's still there like in my everyday life now, even if we didn't work together.
so
Oh,
sweet.
I love that. And it's so nice to hear that it's outside of the social media community. Like it's where you work, but I just know it as the social media community, and I have lifelong friends that I've made from years ago, and it's this community. We say it every time, but this community is the best community.
It is.
They're
Sometimes
special.
if you're an intended parent, it's a really sad community to be a part of. You don't want to join the club, but like, come on in. Like we're all
Yes.
welcoming.
Yes, we are.
I love that. Okay, well, do you want to talk about a little bit then about well, we talked about your job, right? You have a question. You're forming, your wheels
I
are
do. I
going.
was trying to form a question. I'm just not quite sure how to do it. Was the goal to always deliver the twins vaginally? Was that the goal? If
That's
everything,
So usually every OB will try vaginally. If for any reason, like if you had a C-section before, usually they kind of tend to go back to those.
Yeah.
But as far as if the baby's in position, they'll always try. They will say that they always need one to come out before the other. I don't remember off the top of my head if it's the bigger one has to come out first or the smaller one, but I think it's the bigger one. I think the bigger one has to come out first because if the smaller one comes out, the hole will close and then the big one can't get out and have to do C-section. And you don't want to deliver both ways. But
That is crazy.
yes, they were both head down. The girl was bigger. She was born first. And so if they're in position, they always try for vaginal first.
so I triplets, but they were C-sections. So like I'm just laying, and they take the babies out. But how you were like present, like awake, like totally seeing this. How is that? No, just how different was that than a single birth? I mean, obviously different, but how very cool. Like first baby comes out, what do they do with first baby? Because you got to
They
deliver
just,
second.
yeah, they just take it and put it on its little bed
Incubator.
thing, and
Yep.
then the next one. They take you in the OR room to deliver just in
Oh,
case anything were
okay.
to happen. They're there. But actually, when I had the girl, I had the boy like 40 minutes later because he was so far up that he
Yeah.
had to like work his way down. And then so I delivered him in the delivery room and her in the OR.
So
So
they
they had to
moved
move me
you.
back.
Isn't that interesting? And so 40 more minutes of contractions to get him down and then pushing. So was pushing like to get each one of them out pretty fast or
The
no?
girl took a little bit longer. The boy, once he was the contractions were like harder, but like once he was down, it was easy to push him out. The girl was, her head was actually in the canal when I had a contract or when I was waiting on another contraction. So that was really painful, but I didn't tear. I didn't do any of that. So it was very smooth.
Yeah.
You,
A
gosh.
dream twin pregnancy delivery, I
Yeah.
swear.
And so
Everybody.
so Jennifer was talking about like you guys are developing this maybe extra support if intended parents need it for those instances, maybe such as this where it's a single dad and he's got now two babies and he's in the hospital for what, a day, two? Did they go to the NICU or no?
They did. They
Okay.
were in there. The girl was in there for a couple of days. The boy was not in there at all. She was actually bigger, but she had a little bit of respiratory.
Sure.
I don't know the word I'm
You could
looking
have gotten stuff stuck in her
Yeah.
lungs, some of the amniotic fluid, what have you. Who
Um,
knows, right?
but she was in there just for about a day or two, and then he was released to go home. He lives in Texas. So when I went into labor, I didn't like just naturally, my water has never broke. Like my
Okay.
son I was induced with, and I had him on his due date. And then with the twins, I thought I was leaking amniotic fluid. So I went in just to be sure, but I wasn't. But I was in labor. I was 5.5 centimeters dilated and
Oh
didn't
my
know.
God.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then, so he missed the actual birth, but he was there the evening of it just because it happened so quickly that
Yeah.
he just didn't get there in time. But
Wow. And so he traveled back to Texas by himself, or did he have like a support come with somebody
he
come?
did bring a friend. His
Okay.
friend came later. So it was just him when he first got there, but then his friend came and they went back together.
Oh my
Holy
gosh. That's
cow.
crazy. More power to him. Wow. It's
Wow.
crazy. And so you're doing it again. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's
Because you got
amazing.
that urge to like, because that's what we find with surrogates. They're like, oh, I am like delivery after delivery. They're like, I'm doing it again. Like,
Yeah.
is
Yes.
that you?
I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. Yes. It's just like there's no words to describe like the gratitude of it. Like there's nothing else like it. So like I immediately knew my husband is like, we're not doing three. but you can do the second one. So maybe we'll see after this one.
So
Yeah,
cute.
you know, I lived with my parents when I did all of mine, and they were like, yeah, after two, no. And I did a third, and now I'm on my fourth. So, like, it's, you know,
Actually,
no.
the truth behind that is after one, we weren't gonna be agreeable
Yeah,
to it, but
it's
all
fine.
three. Like,
Mhm.
It's all good. It all
Yeah.
worked out. I love it.
it's great.
Um, so quick question. So since the intended father wasn't there for the delivery, did you get to see him meet his babies or no?
I did. So they had the boy, the girl was in the NICU, but the boy was in our room. So he came in and like got to do all the things.
Oh, that's amazing. See, and I think that that's like I think that's the pull that all surrogates have, where they're like, when can I do it again? 6 months? Okay, let's go. Like,
I have to
we'll
wait
do it
six,
again.
I have to wait a year. Like I need to know
Right.
which clinic we're using so I know when I can start.
Totally. Yeah, right. Put it down on the calendar. Like, okay, like I will have all my paperwork ready. Like, can I just get them when I leave the hospital? Yeah, it's that moment of like, okay, that's why I did it. Even if the
Yeah.
journey is sour, which sometimes it can be,
It's not. Yeah.
that's the moment that is like, this is why I'll do
You
it.
wanted to help and you helped like almost nobody else can. Like it's a very small community that is willing to do this, not that can do it, it's willing to do this. It's
Yeah.
a lot of your life. Like people don't understand. You just don't say, hey, I want to do it and go in and get an embryo transfer the next day. That's not how it works.
Mm-mm.
It's a long time.
It
So
is.
what we didn't ask Jennifer, maybe you know, Sam, how long in between surrogacies can you do a surrogacy with your agency? Like from birth to, do you have to wait 6 months or a year?
It just depends on the clinic. So it's
Yeah.
it's the clinic's protocol. Sometimes they'll start pre-screening at 4 months and then transfer at 6. But then some clinics won't let you transfer until a year later.
A year. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Especially
common.
with a C-section. You
Yes.
definitely can't do it for a
Yeah.
year. That part
Yeah.
I do know.
Gotta heal.
Oh my gosh. Well, do you have any advice for any future surrogates?
I would say if you're thinking about doing it, do it because you always have the itch to do it if you don't do it. And then when you do it, there's nothing else like it.
Very fair. It's very
It's
true.
true. So
Samantha, I'm gonna cut this out. Well, maybe I won't, but I probably will. You said that you're gonna have you're gonna do a second journey, right? And your son's 5.
Yes.
Okay, well, if you're cool with it, we'd like to send you this. We wrote a children's book, and it's from the point of view of my son. So it has a boy in it. Here, I'll show you. And he goes and it's LGBTQ friendly, and he goes and it explains surrogacy in the most realistic, kid-friendly way. So if you're willing, we're happy to send a copy to you.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
okay.
Yes.
Share it with the agency. Heck, we'll send 2.
Yeah, we'll give one to you and Jennifer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So fun.
Amazing. Well,
Is there
thank you
anything
guys.
was there anything you want to add, Sam? Did we touch on everything that you wanted to get in or oh, no question. We never went over her med protocol. I'm kind of curious with twins,
Oh,
what you ended up doing. Like obviously progesterone and estrogen and all that, but did you do suppositories, injections? Like what was it?
So I only did injections. I never did like an oral tablet or a patch or anything like that. I only did injections. And fun fact, my husband is terrified of needles, so I did all my injections myself.
no.
Girl. Yes, yes. Power to the people. Yep.
Good
Mhm.
for you. I just went through a transfer it didn't take, and I had my partner give me all of them, and there was one shot that they were like, "Oh, put it in your tummy." And I sat there for 35 minutes trying to do it, being like, I can do this. Everybody else does this. I can do this. I couldn't do it. So more power to all of you who can do it. I can't.
So easy.
It's my mind. I was like, nope, not doing it. I'll get a tattoo any day of my life, but a shot? No.
It's
Wow.
completely different. It's a completely different needle.
It's completely different needle, and I'm not the one in control of it. I'm good.
Yes, yes. And I did do suppositories after transfer, but I weaned off of meds at 10 weeks.
Okay. So you didn't do suppositories before transfer.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Very interesting.
And I did a Z pack right before transfer as well. I don't
Okay.
know.
I've done that
Antibiotics.
once before.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
God, that sounds like just a dream of a pregnancy and a surrogacy. It does. It's like delivering twins vaginally. It's not super common. Like, so more power to you. That's great. I
Yes,
love it.
we actually had a surrogate this year deliver twins vaginally as well with the double embryo transfer. So I don't know if it's becoming like more common, but it is like
I hope
Did you
so.
say she had a
doable.
double? Did you say she had a double embryo, or was it one that split? She had a double.
Mhm.
Look at that.
Yes,
That's
two.
becoming rare.
I know.
Yeah, really rare.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. This was so fun.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh,
Yes,
pleasure.
of course. I told Jennifer, were you here when I was explaining it? But I told her, this is gonna go up in July. So normally I edit all this. So the week before it goes up, I'll send it to you guys. So it'll be like on like a weekend that I'll send it to you, and the following weekend it'll go up. You guys can view it. You don't want your image in it, right? Just audio?
Well, at this point, I mean, I just get so nervous that
Oh,
I'm
you
like,
did great.
You know what?
Great.
I will edit it. I will keep your image in it. If you don't want your image in it, it's really easy for me to take it out. So you just let me know, okay?
okay.
And
Okay,
you're so
perfect.
pretty. You
I know
should be
you're
on
so
camera.
pretty. Amazing. Well, thank
It's
you
that
guys so
southern
much.
taste. Yeah. No, thank you, both of you. It was awesome. And thank you for taking your Saturday, part of your Saturday,
Of
to
course.
join
Thank
us.
you guys.
course.
Absolutely. Well, have a great rest of your weekend.
And
You
good luck
too.
with your new match.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh. That was
That was
so
cool.
fun. Huh?
I didn't even know we were getting two. I was like, oh,
I
wait.
know. And look at that. We did it in less than some of our other podcasts.
Look at that. That was great.
So amazing.
What a cool agency.
Lots
Like,
of green flags.
oh, tons.
I know.
Tons.
Yeah.
And the compensation is fair. Like for a first-time surrogate, that's
The
very, very fair.
compensation is fair, and the price and the, how would you say it? And the financial
The agency
aspects
fee.
for the
Yeah.
IPs is fair.
Agency fee.
Like,
Yes. Yes.
well,
Okay.
as fair as I've seen.
Yes, agreed. Win-win, because we all know there's so many more financial things they have to do, medications, and the surrogate compensation. Like that makes, like I said in the pocket, it makes it where a couple or intended parent could do this. Like it's a possibility. Their dream could become a reality. Like I said, I think it's
because not all majority of intended parents are just normal people, not celebrities.
right. You just want a family, and I so want this to become a little bit more affordable, and they're doing it.
Yeah,
Exceptional Surrogacy is doing it. Good for them.
Exceptional Fertility.
Sorry, cut that
It's all
out.
good. I got you.
Exceptional Fertility is doing it.
There you
Fantastic.
go. It's all good. Yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much again, ladies. And if anybody has any questions or stories that they would like to share, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Stop.Sit.Surrogate. And this has been another episode of Stop.Sit.Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.